Joining us with more on the death of President Yar'Adua is VOA's Chinedu Offor. Thanks for joining us here. Chinedu, obviously, as we just noted, or we just heard in the piece, Mr. Yar'Adua really didn't serve that long into his term, and now he's gone. Judging from the reaction yesterday, even though the news of his death was expected, he was clearly well-liked. How do you think he'll be remembered?
Well, thank you, Ndimyake. President Umaru Yar'Adua is a nice person. Those who have interacted with him personally would tell you that. He's also a very simple man. He's committed to reform. I think the nation would remember him as a man who tried to do the best for the country. He's a man who is not a very wealthy person by every standard, although he came from a very wealthy family. So they will see him as a man who practiced what he preached, who tried to lead by example, but he was just, unfortunately, his tenure was cut short by this illness. It was expected, but nevertheless, a very sad event.
Now, Mr. Jonathan has been thrown into a really tough situation here where he not only has to propel the country forward, he's promising good governance, fighting corruption, but at the same time also there's this looming election that's coming up next year. What do you foresee happening?
I think Mr. Jonathan would have to move very fast, very quickly. He doesn't have a lot of time to do much. That he has said, if you remember, he has now cut the 7-point agenda of the government to 3. Basically, Yar'Adua came in and said he was going to carry out 7 reform agendas, but Jonathan has now cut that to 3. Namely, he's going to concentrate on power, he's also going to do electoral reforms, and he's going to tackle corruption. So he has enough time to do that. But his future is unknown right this moment. The ruling party has effectively said he's not going to run by denying him the ticket, saying he's going back to the north. But Jonathan has not ruled out whether he's going to run or not, and a lot of people want him to run, but they want him to run on something. So that means he either has to deliver on his promises, or I'm afraid someone else will have to take that top job.
And obviously the issue of vice president, that's very important. He has to make a decision very soon. When do you think he will make that decision, and who is the likely person he's going to pick?
I think as soon as possible, but also that is going to be another source of controversy in Nigeria. The Constitution says both the president and vice president will be picked through election. But now that hasn't happened, so that means Mr. Jonathan would have to appoint one. And that is open to a lot of legal challenge, whether he has the power to do that. But regardless of what he does, he has to get the consent of the 2 houses of assembly, the Senate and House of Representatives. A lot of people say he's going to pick a serving governor from the north, which effectively will make whoever it is that is lucky to get a vice presidential job a top contender for the presidency next year. It's going to be difficult. There's a lot of people who want the job, but I think it's up to Jonathan to pick somebody who he has not only personal rapport with, but someone who can step in and become president.
Obviously, a lot more to come, still unfolding. Well, thank you so much, Chinedu Offor, for joining us with that.